Hi guys, it's Caitlin Hirschler coming to you, not live, heavily edited, from Pawtucket, Rhode Island, where I am currently living. It's been about probably in excess of 6 months since I've last podcasted. If you've been following me before, see Gigi in the background, you know that about 6 months ago I was unemployed and didn't really know what my situation was going to be in the future, but I knew I was moving. I might have announced that I had a job offer at the time, but the thing is that a period where I was unsure of what was going on. So I'm happy to announce I am currently working for Prismian Group, which is a wire and cable manufacturing company. I'm a material science engineer, and I'm so happy with my new job. I love my coworkers, I love what I do, and it's a really great opportunity to give me a platform to further my career. I'm also getting my master's part-time in sustainable management, which I hope to bring into my corporate career after my 2 years of study. But I think this is going to be a bit of a bumper episode. I have a lot to talk about, things that I've made, things I'm working on. Gigi might pop up and say hi, and a lot of future projects that I am really inspired to either finish, start, or just work on in general. It's been a really hard 6 months for me health-wise, and I will go over everything at the end of the podcast. That way, knitting's at the forefront, which is what this podcast is primarily about. And then if you are interested in keeping up with my health journey, I will be sharing that, and it's gonna be a lot. So if you're not good with body stuff, definitely don't listen to the ending, but I'll give you fair warning. But wow. How have you guys been? I hope well. Despite having really serious health issues over the past 6 months, I've really enjoyed my move to Rhode Island. I've gotten to move into this amazing apartment. It's a loft-style apartment with hardwood floors, big-ass windows. You see all my plants. I think I'm now up to about 24 houseplants. Haven't killed too many, so I'm proud of that. One did get, mealybugs, and I've never had a mealybug outbreak before, so I didn't even try to save that plant. That plant was out of there. But I have a good replacement plant for him. It's blown out in the background, but he was a neon pothos. What am I wearing right now? It is the Ducat sweater by Kate Davies. I finished it over the summer and showed y'all when I finished it. It's become one of my favorite sweaters that I actually have. It's lightweight, but it's warm and it's green. Just pop it on over a shirt. It's not scratchy. It's in the Biche and Bouche wool, which I'm a huge fan of. Like, it feels kind of scratchy, like in the skein. I don't think I have any really quick to show you. Here's some. It's kind of scratchy in the skein, but it is super nice to wear, and it's super lightweight, which I'm really appreciative of, because despite the fact that Rhode Island is in New England, I find it ridiculously warm for winter. We've had averages, for those in Fahrenheit, of over 40 pretty much all winter, and for me that's really warm. I spent my past 2 winters in either Syracuse, New York, or Dover, New Hampshire, or Somersworth, New Hampshire, if you're in the know, and that it gets cold there, and I appreciate the cold weather. So but I think everywhere's had a mild winter besides the freak kind of storms we've had. But I'll get started with my finished object. So I actually finished, my knitting mojo was pretty low over the past 6 months, just because I didn't have any energy at all to do anything. My brain was really inspired, and I had a lot that I wanted to make, but I just physically couldn't. There was days where I was sleeping through the entire day, just because I couldn't get out of bed. I was too tired. And that really, when you're balancing full-time work and part-time school, taking those full days off really cuts into your extracurricular time. But I was able to get a few things done. So, let's see, I'll start at the very top. So last time we talked, I was in the process of making the pocket full of posy blanket from Pearl Soho, and it was something that I wanted to finish before the end of August, I think, or before my move. I don't think I finished it right before my move, but within the first 2 weeks, so before September 15th, it was done, and I will scooch back, and I'll also insert a photo to show you the full thing, but here it is in all of its glory. My dudes, it is probably one of my favorite blankets that I've ever made. So I am a big crochet blanket maker, always have been, always have been. For my 4 years I've been doing fiber arts for, but I always will be. I love making crochet blankets, but I find that the whole, I usually do kind of granny square style stuff, and I find that those holes, they just don't hold in the warmth very well. And I was using acrylic. I didn't feel like it kept me that warm, but aesthetically gorgeous. But this is a merino cashmere nylon blend from Pearl Soho. It's whatever they kind of promote as their luxury sock base. I'll pop in the name of the base kind of down below just so y'all know what it is. It is not cheap. I bought the yarn for this as a gift to myself when I quit Anheuser-Busch in 2019. That kind of job leaving definitely needed a celebration, so I splurged with the rest of my corporate sellout money, and I bought the blanket kit from Pearl Soho, and warmest thing I've ever knit in my entire life. It is so cozy. It is so well loved. It's gonna pill like a bitch, so I'll have to, keep up with it and monitor it, but that's the point of a blanket, is to be well loved, well worn. Jeet has adopted it as her favorite blanket. Definitely so happy with how this project's turned out. And I am planning on, not this year, but maybe in 2022 or 2023, make my dad a larger throw size of this blanket in neutral colors, because that man can appreciate something that's soft, and this bitch is soft. So I know that he would absolutely love that whenever I got the chance to make it. So that's on my list. So one finished object down. What I worked on next was the 4-color quadrant beanie from James in Watts, kind of all in my colors. This is, I got outside schmegma on it, all sorts of plant bits. Pretty sure this is some not Pearl Soho, Quince & Co. Hudson and West is the green. This orange is also Quince & Co. And then this gray, I'm pretty sure came from an advent calendar from Earl Fiber Company years ago, probably in 2019. But I love this pattern. I wear it every time I leave the house. My hair's up in a man bun right now because I need a haircut badly, so I'm not putting it on. But I really love wearing this hat. It's my current go-to. The knit's really fun. I never knit in Tarja before this hat, and the way he explains it and the kind of videos he does makes it so easy. So I would recommend this knit to anyone. I also just realized I wrote all of my notes on my phone, which is being used to film this, so my notes are going to be irrelevant, and I'm not going to know who made my things or who designed my things, so bear with me. I'm really sorry that most of the stuff that I'm going to have to say is going to have to be put in the bottom bar. Yeah, hat project done. I also knit my dad a hat. It's an Isolde Teague pattern. I'll insert a photo here so you can see it, and it kind of matches his personality really well. Some bright blues, some browns, creams, stuff like that. And I think it's so sade. Butchered. Even if I wrote it, I'd butcher that. So I'll put it here, but it's an Isolde Teague pattern. I really love that. I'm also going to be making myself a hat out of that in kind of a reddish cream kind of vibe once I get to it, because I have so much energy and so much inspiration moving forward. So I'm really excited for all the things that I'm going to knit. Next on my finished object list, over Christmas, I got, for some reason, really into pot holders. I mean, like those kind of Harrisville cotton loop pot holders, my dudes. I whipped out so many of this is the traditional size. I think it's 6 by 6, and then I don't think this is 6 inches wide, but probably it's 5 by 5 once it's off the loom. And this starts out at 10 by 10. And obviously gets a little smaller outside the loom. This is the pro size. But they're just so satisfying and so fun. When I had low energy and I couldn't even focus on kind of knitting, just being able to weave something in and out of these pot holders was really satisfying and gave me a creative outlet when I wasn't able to do much else. I went and bought, I'm going to get up so I can show you the ridiculousness. I went and bought 2 massive bags of loops with my Christmas money. Got a bag of pastels, and I got a bag of what they call their designer colors, but it's kind of like They're muted forest tones. It's kind of like my vibe on that. You can see my outfit underneath is I'm literally just wearing pajama pants and a long shirt. That was not meant to be seen. But I'm excited. That will provide me loops for the next year probably. So I'll be doing those occasionally and giving them away because there's only so many potholders one human being needs. And I am single in my apartment, so that number's even lower. So I really, really enjoyed getting into that, and I'll continue getting into that as the year goes on. I'll just kind of show you the things that I've made and kind of the color combinations I come up with, which I'm not that creative with color combinations, so it's going to be like, here's some blue and gray. Go Caitlin. Next finished object is a gift for my little. I don't know if Addie watches these or not. If she does, I'd be really impressed. She's not a knitter, so it would be out of pure love that she watches these. She does the most by keeping up with my Instagram stories, which is the best way to keep track of my life because I have no filter and I love Instagram. So anyone who's close to me who knows that I'm a bad texter just knows to check my Instagram stories every day if they need an update. But in any case, I always knit. She's extremely knit-worthy, so I always knit her a Christmas gift or a birthday gift. Her birthday is the day before Christmas, so sometimes we decide to do both gifts for the year because my birthday's in January. I just turned 26, woo! Or we just do one gift. This year we did one gift because we wanted it simple. And I made her a pair of fingerless mitts. So this is from the Cement Tiles collection. Designer name, I do not remember. It's in my notes on the phone, so that's going to be down here. But the collection is called the Cement Tiles pattern, and these specifically are the larder mitts. A really fun triangle motif. I had pop the color in the pattern. The pattern actually uses kind of the same cream and blue, but they have a red contrast. But I thought this bright yellow would be super fun. She has dark brown hair and a fair skin. She looks great in every color, so I'm never worried about what I send her because I know she'll look great in anything. But these are her birthday present, Christmas present, that need to go out this week. Hopefully I'll get my shit together and get it done. But I'm really, really proud of these and how they turned out. I was using a Norwegian knitting thimble to help me with my color work, and that really was chef's kiss. Really made it easy to do and kind of enjoyable to do instead of like flipping my balls around and like the annoying things that go with color work. So really happy, and I plan on making my mama the kind of the collection you have to buy as a collection. So I bought it because I really wanted these larder mitts, but she has I think 4 other amazing fingerless mitten patterns in there, and I know my mama wants another pair of fingerless mitts in black and white, so I will be grabbing something else from there probably. They're all really cool. Definitely check them out. Last thing I want to share is a knit that I did when I was in the hospital. So I was in the hospital for 11 days. Go into more in that at the end. But I brought 2 knitting projects with me while I was there and made this one. So this is literally a just simple brioche cowl. You pop that sucker on. It is so warm, so nice. It's made of an Aran weight, bulky weight yarn. The dark brown color kind of it has reddish undertones to it. It's a Quince & Co. Osprey question mark on the colorway. I own a lot of their Osprey colorways because it's my favorite yarn. And then the speckled yarn is a on the round bulky weight, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I made a brioche cowl at some point last year that I really, really enjoyed, but it vanished into New England winter somewhere, probably going back and forth between different people's houses and stuff when we did that. But this is the replacement for that. I bought the yarn for Christmas last year, and I finally got around to making it. It was a perfect hospital knit because it is straight brioche knitting. I cast it on before I left and finished it about a few days before I got to go home. So I'm really going to enjoy wearing this once it gets a little colder, which it will be this week because we have a few winter storms popping through. The pattern for that is based on the Pretty Little Things pattern. Again, I'll put it down here. and it's really, I just used it for knowing how many stitches to cast on for brioche. I didn't do anything special, literally cast on, knit a row of rib, just to kind of get the brioche set up. Brioche for however long I felt like it was good for my neck, another row of rib, and then cast off. Super easy. So that's all that I got accomplished for finished objects in the past 6 months. I'm sure there are other small things that I got accomplished as well. I was working on some Christmas ornaments, his little rainbow socks that I was doing, but I didn't keep track of anything, so I'm not gonna go dig around my entire apartment to be like, what did I make at every point of the year? But so that's what I finished. I have a couple whips that I'm going to share, and then I'm also going to share future knitting, so stuff that I really want to make in this upcoming year. So first, what's on my hook for crochet? So I've shared with y'all before that I have been making hexagons out of Earl Grey Fibers advent calendars for 2019, 2020, and I planned on doing it for 2021. I have decided not to use 2021's advents in there. They're tonal instead of variegated speckly ones, and I want to use it for a different project because I have a rainbow assortment of them, and I'm not that I would waste a rainbow putting it into this blanket, but I want it to be used on its own. So sorry, I can see people texting me at the same time. So with ADHD, it's kind of hard to stay focused, but I have been crocheting these hexagons for about over a year now. I kind of make the individual motifs, sew them together into a bigger motif, and then I was planning on figuring out how to attach them, and that was the big thing, is figuring out how to attach them, because like the geometry of a hexagon is extremely simple. It's 6-sided. So when you put it together into this is the last one I have. I have 40 now. This is the only one that's not an Earl Grey fiber yarn. I just needed one more, and it fit the color scheme, so I picked it from my bowl of minis, which is up there. But as you can see, individual hexagon motifs, and I single crocheted them together in kind of this flower motif. And the flower motif geometry is a lot more complicated than a hexagon. So when you're putting them together, like I'm not following a pattern, I'm really doing this off the top of my head, you need to pay attention to how they all interlock together. So if your first row is off, the rest of your rows are gonna be off, which is exactly what I did. But was I about to rip it out? Oh, hell no. This is my spaghetti at the wall blanket. We're throwing shit at the wall, and we're gonna watch it fucking stick. But I am really happy with how it's turning out. So I am doing a kind of made up join as you go method between the motifs, and I've gotten 2 full rows complete so far. And I'll put in a picture so you can see the full thing on the floor. But I am so happy with how it's turning out. It's exactly what I wanted it to be, which was a display, a piece to display how beautiful Earl Grey Fibers advent minis are. Like I said, I was getting them 2019, 2018, or 2020, putting them into small projects, but I loved them so much I wanted to find a way to really display them to the world and really showcase them. So this is what I've come up with. You see here is one of the places where I've just shoved in an extra hexagon because of the way I did the first row. I got my rhythm in towards the end of the first row, but the beginning parts where I messed up, I'm just kind of editing as I go up, and able to kind of, I have single hexagons that didn't fit into a larger motif, or other ones broke, and so I couldn't use the full scheme. So continuing on that journey, this is the first one on the 3rd row. I'm going to have 5 rows of 8 total. It won't be a super wide blanket, but it's about as long as I am tall. I'm about 5'2". So I'm pretty pleased with the length of it. The width I wish it was a bit longer. I could always make more, but I am not going to. And I'm planning on doing just a simple white border, maybe making it thick to add some width, maybe not. We'll see as I go. Like I said, this is my own pattern, and it's pretty much throwing spaghetti at the wall. So once it's done, I'm going to be really happy. I'm getting a new couch to go upstairs, and it's going to be gorgeous. It's going to be a green apple velvet daybed. Fucking love it. And I think this would look really nice on it, just as a artistic piece. So watch this space on me getting this completed, because this is definitely a project that I don't want to dilly-dally on, not in a way that like goes slow on it. I'm gonna take my time to make sure it's done correctly. There's no great way to do this, but I want to keep up my momentum on it. I don't want this to drag out, because the thinking about how, when you attach each motif, it takes a lot of brain power to make sure everything's lined up correctly. So I don't want to get just drag it on forever and get burned out on it. So hopefully next time I podcast, I'll at least have another row 3 done, hopefully more. So watch this space. Another thing I was working on before December, I've been working on this one for a while, haven't gotten much done on it, is my lamech sweater by Chantal LaPlante, who is the Flying Yak on Instagram. It's a bottom up sweater, and I've dropped 2 stitches. Whoopsies, there we go. Dropped 2 stitches. So all I have so far is the bottom. I've done the first kind of repeat of, it's about a few rows, then a chunk of rows, and then with the white stripes in between. Picture will be here of what it'll look like when it's completed. But I finally have motivation and energy to work on this project again. I dropped like 6 stitches this time. I really was struggling with this project before I got surgery done. I didn't have any energy to complete this project because it's just a fingering weight sweater. It's nothing challenging. I just couldn't make myself do that kind of root fingering weight work. But I am good to go again. It's knit out of brioche yarn, same one. This is made out of same thing, except it's white yarn with green thread held double, and this is just the green yarn itself. The contrasting white stripes, this is the same color palette that Chantal used on her sample, and the white stripes that I'm doing, it is the brioche yarn held together with mohair, just for like a little fun texture. You really wouldn't notice unless you're me that it has mohair held double to it, but I am just really enthralled by doing that way, and I'm amused. So that's all that really matters, I think. Hopefully I want to get this finished this spring. I think once I get through the bottom of the sweater and kind of start going towards shaping at the top and the sleeves, it'll move a lot faster. I'm more of a top-down sweater kind of gal, and I always find that the beginning of the sweater with all the shaping and the interest moves a lot quicker for me. Gigi is currently sitting on one of the projects I have down here. Another work in progress I have that I brought to the hospital with me was a stripy sock. So I have extremely loose gauge, which, I mean, like, I have to go down about 2 needle sizes when they recommend, like, I don't know, like a 4 millimeter. I have to knit it on the 2 millimeter. Like, it's like insane how loose my gauge is, and I could attempt to try to fix it, or I just adjust my needle size and work with my gauge as I have, which makes more sense. So the reason I was saying this is because a lot of people knit their socks on 2.75, 2.5, 2 millimeter needles. These bitches are knit on a 1.5 millimeter needle, and I think they might still be too loose. But the whole point, I'm really intimidated by fingering weight socks. I knit 2 DK weight socks earlier this year and was pleasantly surprised on how well they turned out and how much I really enjoyed knitting and wearing them. So I wanted to force myself to do a fingering weight sock, trying to figure out the right needle size, the right stitch count, kind of what works for me. So that I'm able to use some of my fingering weight sock yarn to make some of these beautiful socks that I had envisioned using, or envisioned kind of making for myself. I could have done calculations to make it more scientific, but I decided to wing it, and I cast on 60 stitches on a 1.5, did a 2x2 ribbit top, knitted 2 color repeats. I want to get closer so y'all can see the color pattern. This is a yarn from Knitterly Things that I picked up at SSK, I think about 2 years ago, probably SSK 2019, no, 2018, because I had just graduated college. And yesterday, my big task was I put in the heel. It is just a simple German short row heel. I always struggle with heels because A lot of when you write, like designers write them, they write them to the cast on stitches that they have. So like if it's 64 or that, and there's just so many that I've always kind of been intimidated. Just kind of picking a heel and just inserting it into a pattern. I really like short row heels better than the heel flap and gusset. But I found this really cool link to a great German short row heel kind of formula, and that clicked in my brain. I will actually add something to the drop down box so that you guys can also might help you have that kind of clicking moment. So heel is turned. Now it's going to knit 7.5 inches for my foot and then do the toe using a contrasting color because this is really bold for me and I need something a little bit to tone it down. This is just a solid brown gray. It's just nice. It's soft. I got it from Max the Knitter and designed by Dells. I know they have a joint company name. Hopefully it'll be here. But I did their advent calendar this year and I absolutely adored it. Oh, Les Garçons. It's close. If it's not that, it's close. But I absolutely adored their advent calendar this year. That was something from it. And we'll be doing it again next year. So that's my sock. I will finish this. I'll finish them if it kills me just because I want to do it. That's pretty much it. I want to get it done. So that is all of my current whips. So like I said, I've been really inspired and have a lot of like future knitting that I want to cast on. So I'm just going to share some of my ideas with y'all. Something I've already shared with y'all, but wanted to bring it up again because I'm really excited for it. And the more I talk about it, the more I'm going to do it, just the way that my brain works. So this is also, the lighting was better earlier today, but I was determined to film this today. So that's why we're adjusting with the orange light. This is just a light gray, a nice snow white, and it's become a starcrossed sweater from Jacqueline Lack. And I spent a lot of time looking at that name, make sure I was kind of close. I had a friend growing up whose last name was Sizik, so every time I see her Jacqueline's last name, I want to just say Sizik, and that's not the correct pronunciation of her last name. I'm pretty sure it's more like Lack. So hopefully that's closer. But this is going to be this is going to be that sweater in this yarn. This yarn's really special to me. I picked it up at the New England Fiber Festival last year when I was living in New Hampshire, and the yarn actually comes from sheep that were raised about 20 minutes south of where I was living at Great Bay Wool Works, and if I've butchered that too, I'll fix it. But if not, it's down here. And just really cool to know that when I finish the sweater, I'm gonna wear it to that farm and tell the sheep, like, hi guys, like, thank you for like growing your coat, wearing it well, and like allowing mama to shave it off so that I can make my clothes out of it. And it's just gonna be a really special moment for me. So I'm wanted to bring this project up again because it's probably going to be one of my favorite makes of 2021 if I get to it. I have a lot of sweaters that I want to cast on after I finish. I'm definitely in a mood where I don't want to cast on too many things. I don't want too many whips. But so after I finish my lamech sweater, so many things that I could cast on, I think it might be this one. As well, another knit that I'm really excited to do I was actually just inspired yesterday to come up with this combination. Made a really fun pattern called the Nug Cowl, where it has cannabis leaves on it with a kind of tonal background, and the leaves are in a spin cycle type, like color changing yarn. So I thought that was too fun. I was really inspired by, I'll put the picture in here, by this picture that I saw yesterday of someone who made it. I really liked how the pinks and greens kind of worked together. It was kind of different than anything else or any of the other cowls that were knit out of that pattern, which had a lot of primarily greens, which cannabis makes sense, it all works out. But I'm planning on using this skein from Earl Grey Fiber, who you guys can tell I obviously love, as the background. This was this year's Advent or Day 25 color, and it's my favorite color. It's a little more orange in this picture. but it's a really nice peach with some brown speckles. It's my favorite day 25 she's had in the 3 years I've done her advent. I absolutely adore it, so I want to make sure that it gets used and loved. And then the leaves are going to be in this, like if there was a yarn that like, if I like had to turn into a ball of yarn and like that represent who I am as a person, it'd be this. This was, who is it by? It's called the Utah Fiber Collective in collaboration with Rhapsody Fiber Arts. And my friend Sarah sent me this for Christmas. We did a Christmas box exchange, which is so fun. And she's incredible. Like you should pay her to create boxes for you to do things like this, because blows my mind every time. I feel like I'm totally inadequate whenever I like receive her box and know what I'm sending her. It's like, all my stuff is good that I'm sending her, but like the presentation, but anyway, she knows me very well, so she sent me this yarn knowing that it is who I am as a person. So this is what the leaves are going to be. So I think it's going to turn out really well. It'll just be fun. It'll just be a fun knit in general, so I'm super excited about that. Then I also this year want to make a pinguino by Stephen West, and we're all familiar with that pattern. If not, I'm not trying to be knitting elitist saying you shouldn't know what the pattern is. It's just really, really popular in the knitting world. It'll be here. You can find it too. And it's reputably really fun and easy to make. So I just want to kind of share my color palette that I've assembled. I wonder if I sit back if the tones will get a little bit better. I think so. Just gonna share the yarn that I've been, this is my pinguino bag. I've not cast anything on. I've just been shoving yarns I think would go with the aesthetic into this, so that when I am ready to knit the actual thing, that I can just go here. So I'm kind of vibing with a lot of grays in here. So this is just a plain gray DK. This is from, this is one of the first skeins of yarn, or hand-dyed yarn I ever bought from Lolo. Lolo did it. I think it's their tin can roof colorway. And the only reason I remember that is because it's literally the second skein of yarn I ever bought from a hand dyer. It's been attempted to be knit into socks too many times, so it's gonna go into the pinguino. I adore that. I just a nice mustard color. Here's some mustard Surrey alpaca. This is, I don't know if this will actually work in there, but wool and boon yarn that's kind of looks like a honeydew melon, if I like had to describe like the vibe of it. There is absolutely no color accuracy in this podcast. That's okay. G just playing with my shadow on the wall. What other kind of major colors in here? So it's pretty much, here's some golds, some greens. This is a nice forest green, some browns, more golds. Yeah, so it's just kind of be a green, gold, cream, gray kind of balance, and I think I'm going to lean heavily on the gold side of it and have like bright accents and other things. I'm really now just amused with myself going through this bag. So I was like, oh, I was wondering like where that yarn went. I thought I had scraps of it, or like, oh, like I didn't know I had that. Like this is gorgeous. I'm pretty sure this is also a Lolo. Lolo did it yarn. Yet again, you cannot see the colors at all. It's a really pretty cream with lots of greens and some hints of purple in there. Anything else fun? TBH, I am obsessed with this yarn. I got this one from my first ever fiber share that I did back in either 2016 or 2017, and I don't remember who the dyer is, but it's just any sparkles. It's a sparkly gray, like it's like an asphalt color with just silver sparkles throughout. It just makes me happy, and I think it'd be super fun in the pinguino. So those are the pinguino vibes I have going on. Watch this space for that. Doubt I'll cast it on anytime soon, but I really want to. So that'll be a fun like passion project whenever I get around to it. Last thing that I wanted to share is a past knit that is going to be frogged. So I made this sweater in probably I think it was the fall of 2018. I made it and I enjoyed wearing it that season. I just don't wear it that much anymore. It's a bit long for me. I prefer a crop sweater because I'm 2 inches tall. It's a little bit heavy. So I just realized I wasn't wearing it, and I am kind of in the mindset now that I want everything to be worn. I want everything to be valued. Sorry, I thought I saw more cats, but there's just one. I have two. So that's a possibility. I'm not that insane. So I will, when I get around to it, frog this and make it into something that will actually be worn. I'm thinking about maybe doing a cardigan for my mama, or just a quick knit for my mama because I want her to get a hand knit sweater this year. I have a, I don't think it's DK, it's more of a sport weight bag of yarn that I have picked out for her for a sweater. Probably gonna make the love note for her out of that one, but that's gonna take a hot minute. And if I do the carbeth out of this yarn, it'll go a lot faster. So we shall see, but those are my intentions, putting those into the world so it'll actually get done. And at the moment, that is all of my knitting and crochet works in progress. Obviously, there are blanket projects, scrappy ones that are scattered around the house, but no real progress has been, or noticeable progress has been made on them, so I'm not going to drag them out for you. So right now, I think will be a good time to transfer into kind of my health update. So if you are only here for the crafting, which if you're following me, I have a really strong personality. I find it very hard to believe you're here exclusively for the crafting because that's just a part of who I am. There's a lot more to me than the crafting. But if you are, I have absolutely no issue with that. You enjoy your afternoon or morning. I'm not judging. So here we go. Without further ado, I'm really open about this on Instagram, and if anyone reaches out to me, I am full transparency. Please feel free to reach out to me with any questions. If you have friends that have gone through something like this, you're going through something like this, or simply if you're just curious. I always say that I am probably one of the best people to ask uncomfortable questions to, because I am not uncomfortable about my own body. I am not uncomfortable with my own situation, and I enjoy sharing what I know with others. And I want to use that to mine and other people's advantage, and as a kind of way to shield people who aren't comfortable from receiving questions and inquiries that kind of they don't want to answer. So really keep that in mind. A lot of health things for people are really personal. So they don't want to talk about it. But for me, part of my healing and part of my living with my disease is talking about it openly and freely, and it's just part of who I am. So those of you who don't know, I have ulcerative colitis. I was diagnosed in 2016. Ulcerative colitis, it's kind of like Crohn's, if that's something you've heard of. It is an inflammatory bowel disease. It's an autoimmune disease in which my body attacks its own colon, creating really painful ulcers that bleed, and it really sucks. It is a really terrible disease. So I've been dealing with that since 2016, and apart from the first about 8 months of my diagnosis, where I was really struggling trying to find meds that worked, I actually had a relatively easy time with it. I had flare-ups, but they were all manageable. I was able to live and work a normal life. So, that was all good and dandy. In July 2019 is when I moved to New Hampshire, and I started flaring really badly. And when I say flaring, it's not just like stomach symptoms or like colon symptoms. Ulcerative colitis affects your entire body. So I had severe insomnia. I slept too much. So I didn't have severe insomnia. I had that in college. I had really severe fatigue. I had a hard time staying awake for long periods of time. I was tired on my feet a lot. I had severe joint pain in my hips, my knees, my spine, my neck, and we couldn't get it under control. I was bouncing around between multiple biologics in 2019. I had been on Entyvio for about a year and a half prior, and it had been working for me, and all of a sudden it stopped, which is very normal for autoimmune diseases, for your biologic to stop working, which sucks, but that's just the way it is. So we were messing around with the biologic I had been on, trying to increase the dose. seeing if that helped. I was on a really high dose of prednisone, still am. Well, not on a high dose, but I'm still on prednisone now. But I tried to taper off prednisone like 6 times. I failed every time. I was really going through it, and couldn't figure it out at all in 2019. And 2020 was just more of the same. Luckily, in the summer, I was doing pretty good. I had colon symptoms and fatigue, but I was unemployed, so I really just took the time to rest and kind of build myself back up again. So that was nice. When I moved to Rhode Island is when things started really going downhill for me. And I think that's because I was more busy. I mean, I am the happiest when I'm busy. So like mentally, I was enjoying my life. I was working full-time as an engineer at my 9-to-5. I was going part-time to school and still trying to make friends as much as you can in a pandemic, cook and do things that I really enjoy. And slowly but surely, everything started to kind of fall apart. I was starting to have to take time off work because I couldn't get out of bed because I was in such severe pain. Or I would go into the office in the morning, and by noon I'd be so nauseous laying on the ground because I was in pain, and I would have to leave because I couldn't do my work. And this got steadily worse because I started my job September 15th, so it's only been about 6 months since then, and it steadily got worse towards moving towards Christmas break. I'm not going to go into like all of my gory symptoms because you don't need to hear that. You can imagine. But in the days leading up till Christmas, I was the sickest I had ever been. I was getting up to go to the bathroom probably 5 times a night, running. During the day, it was even worse. I was in severe pain all the time. I couldn't eat anything. I didn't want to eat anything. I was nauseous. I was passing a ton of blood. I was just tired. I was fatigued. I was severely anemic. I wasn't functioning at all. Christmas Eve, I actually, I had wanted to make cinnamon rolls. I had a tart planned for a friend. I had a really nice roast that I needed to prepare to make for myself for Christmas Day. I live alone. And I ended up having to sleep the entire Christmas Eve. I mean, woke up at 9 o'clock in the morning, went back to bed until the afternoon, got up, had something to put in my body for dinner because I know that I need to feed myself, and then got back into bed and went back to bed until the next day. And the only reason I got up on Christmas was because, my family expected me to, video them, and it was Christmas, and how could I, sleep the day away? So I got up and was, trying to be functional. I had a great morning. I couldn't eat anything. I was just trying to, get through it. Called my parents, and we had a really nice video call, and I opened my presents. So that was really awesome. But as the day went on, I got sicker and sicker, and around sometime between 5 and 7, I was crying pretty much on the toilet and knew something was really wrong. So I, called my best friend, Marshall, and usually my solution when I get that bad is I have him just kind of tell me a story of how his day is going, or, what he's passionate about at the moment. And just hearing someone else talk about something that they're passionate about is usually able to shift my mind away from the pain and kind of reframe it, and I usually feel better. But even that trick didn't work. So Marshall told me to call the on-call doctor. So while I was crying on the phone to the on-call doctor, he told me I had to go to the hospital. So I admitted myself into the ER, and I was then subsequently admitted to the hospital for stay that night. I was only in the hospital for about 18 hours that time. Was just kind of getting pumped with IV steroids, with fluids, anti-nausea medicine, stuff to make me more comfortable. But at that time, I realized that I had to make a decision on my, and I was discharged the next day. So I got to go home on the 26th. So it was that experience that made me realize that I had started a new med a new biologic at the end of August. So I had been on a new med called Stelara. It wasn't working, and I had to make the decision whether I wanted to continue to try to make that med work, I was down to my last 2 biologics, so I only had 2 more med options aside from Stelara, and none of my doctors were very optimistic that either of those new med options were going to work because of my history. Essentially, I've just been failing off of every biologic, and when you have that history, you are more than likely going to fail off biologics in the future. And then my third option was surgery, which I had been, I don't say putting off for years, because I didn't even think it was on my radar. I didn't think that I was sick enough to have surgery done. But my Christmas experience made me realize that I was done with bouncing between meds. I was done feeling so miserable. Like, I wanted my life back. I want to be able to eat food. Food is the most important thing to me in the world. I wanted to be able to eat what I wanted, when I wanted. I wanted to be able to work full time at work. Like, I started saying like things like, you know, if I wasn't in a corporate job that gave me flexibility, I'd have to be on federal disability, which I do qualify for. I wouldn't have been able to work shift work because of how sick I was. And I didn't want to be like that anymore. I was really tired of being sick. I wanted a quality of life back. And so December, I realized that I was going to get surgery to remove my disease. And so the type of surgery that I had planned on getting is called J-pouch. I'm back. My phone died, had to charge it. Then I had to change my bag, which is relevant to the current story. So I was talking about J-pouch. So J-pouch surgery is where they remove your entire, also the light's going, that I'm finishing this podcast today because otherwise it's not getting done. J-pouch surgery is typically done in 2 or 3 parts. Mine's gonna be done in 3 parts, so I'll explain it like that. So the first surgery is to remove your entire large intestine, also known as your colon, and then they place a temporary ileostomy right here on your right side. So an ileostomy is a piece of your small intestine that kind of sticks out from your stomach, and it's how you expel waste from your body. So currently I have an ileostomy. His name is Francis. I love him very much. And I have a ostomy bag attached to my side. And we'll go into that later, but I'm just kind of explaining the overall process so far. In about 3 months, once I'm healed up from this surgery, I will go back in to create the J-pouch. So that means that Francis will be brought back inside a little bit. He will be tossed around by my surgeon, and they're going to create a kind of fake colon so that I'll be able to eventually go normally, shit normally, poop normally, whole 9 yards. So they'll rearrange everything inside and suture it all into place and give me another temporary ostomy. He's not going to be the same as Francis. He's a different spot on my small intestine. I've already planned his name. I think it's going to be it's another F name. Frederick. I think it might be Frederick. So my J-pouch will be, like, essentially J-pouch is what Francis is now. So Francis is outside right now. They'll take Francis back inside. They'll make him into the J-pouch, attach him to my rectum. And then Francis, or not Francis, the other one, Frederick. Frederick will be my temporary ostomy on the outside. Still have the bag. And then for my third surgery, just 2 months after the second surgery, I go back in and they reverse the temporary ostomy. So Frederick goes back inside and they hook everything up, and I go like a normal person. Obviously, it's going to be different not having a large intestine. Your large intestine takes out a lot of water, takes out a lot of your nutrients. So there will be lifestyle changes. So that's going to explain the J-pouch procedure that I kind of decided on after my hospitalization in December. Fast forward to January, I had a great first week of January. Went back to work after the holidays, was really optimistic. I had my surgery scheduled for February 11th. Just had a month to go until then. Still wasn't doing super hot, but I was put back on another high dose of prednisone, so I was coping. And then on January 7th, I had realized that I had been passing pretty much exclusively blood for about 3 days. I was violently nauseous. I hadn't been eating. I was severely anemic. And I realized, again, something was wrong. I called my doctor, and she pretty much told me that there was nothing else she could do for me at that point and that I needed to be admitted. So I went to the ER on January 7th, and my dudes, it was awful. I was in really rough shape. I was really sick. I didn't eat for 4 days at the hospital. I was throwing up everything I tried to keep down. a lot of that was related to, they took me off my steroids cold turkey, which is extremely dangerous for reasons. So I was in severe withdrawal, pretty much vomiting all the time, was on pain meds just because I couldn't function. I was not well. So while I was in the hospital, I was placed under the care of the surgical team and my GI team, and they made the decision that we were going to move ahead with surgery then. So I got my surgery done 7 days later on January 14th to remove my large intestine and to give me Francis. And honestly, I wasn't I was excited to get the surgery done. I was ready. I called him my angry house guest, my colon. I do not miss him at all. He sucks. He's awful. And he's gone. I have no more large intestine. So I got my surgery done on the 14th. It went really well. All done laparoscopically. So I just have 5 kind of like incision marks on my tummy with Francis. Not that that is a concern for me in general. I'm really comfortable with my body. So no matter what would have happened, I would have been happy just to be healthy again. I had some pain following my surgery when I woke up, but the pain was only really there for about 12 hours, and after that it became really manageable. I was pretty much free from stomach pain by the 2nd day, and so not the day after my surgery, but the 2 days after, I was able to start eating again, which was amazing. I literally could eat food without pain, without running to the bathroom. It was the best feeling ever, and I have been feeling better and better every single day since then. I'm getting stronger. I'm able to eat. I have energy. I can go to bed when I want. I can wake up when I want. You know, my body's not controlling me anymore. I'm in control of my body, and I know that it's probably hard for people who haven't experienced what I've gone through to see the freedom of an ostomy bag. But imagine that at any point in time, you almost have an accident. You're running to the bathroom. You are in pain. You are scared. And now I'm just like, I had lunch a few hours ago. Like, I feel like peeing, so I'll empty him in a little bit. Like, it is such a blessing. I ate a giant bowl of mac and cheese yesterday and didn't have any pain. Yes, my digestive system doesn't like, if a normal person eats a giant bowl of mac and cheese, like, it's not the best thing for you, but I'm eating it without pain. I am existing in my own body, feeling in control for the first time in 4 years. And so whenever someone asks me how I'm doing and, what I think of how my surgery went, I can only say this is the biggest blessing that I've been given, best decision I've made for my own health in the past 4 years. I am so excited to see where this journey takes me. I have no regrets at all, and there's a possibility in my future that with additional complications I won't be able to have J-pouch surgery, and then I can make Francis permanent. Francis behaves super well for an ostomy. I'm really happy with, how everything's going, and, that's an active decision that I have to make over the next 3 months. I still plan on getting a J-pouch done right now. I have an amazing surgeon who specializes in this type of procedures, and I am young and healthy, so I know that my outcome is going to be the best if I get J-pouch surgery done. But at the same time, I am super happy having my temporary ostomy. I know what it is now, and it's, J-pouch is unknowns. My ostomy is knowns. So it's a decision I'll probably have to make. I'm still really leaning towards, finishing up my 3 procedures and getting J-pouch put in. But it's just amazing to me that I'm even considering keeping my ostomy because of how good it makes me feel. It's unlike anything that I've done for myself before. But that's essentially my big health update. I got really sick, went to the hospital twice. I was in the hospital for 11 days. 11 days. By the end, I was crawling up the walls. I was like losing my mind. I wanted to get home to my cats. I wanted to get home to my stuff. My mama was here. My mom came up to take care of me after my surgery, and that was really awesome. She stayed through my birthday. I made a big ass chicken parm. I had friends that made me a carrot cake, which I was able to eat. I haven't been able to eat sweets in years. And everything's really looking up for me. And 2021 is gonna be the year where I regain my health. Yeah. So thank you guys for watching, and I appreciate every single one of you. I make these videos mostly for myself, because why else would I do something? Well, I guess that's just the way my brain works. I do things for myself, and if other people get to enjoy them, then that makes me even happier. So I really hope you enjoyed the podcast. Can't make any promises on when I'll podcast again, but I still love doing this. I love talking to you guys. I love hearing your comments, and any way that my words can impact you means a lot to me. So you guys have a fabulous day. Enjoy whatever weather you're having, and live each day to the fullest. Bye, y'all.